The wind howled through the dense forest, rustling the leaves and sending shivers down the spines of the four friends gathered around the flickering campfire. The orange flames cast eerie shadows on their faces as they huddled closer, seeking warmth and comfort in each other's presence. Leela sat cross-legged, her dark eyes reflecting the firelight. "This place is haunted, you know," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Arjun, the skeptic of the group, scoffed. "Come on, Leela. Don't start with those silly ghost stories. We're here to have fun." Neha, who secretly loved ghost stories, leaned in. "No, let her tell us." "What's the story?" Leela smirked, enjoying the attention. "This forest, it's not just an ordinary place. There's something here, something ancient, something evil." Rahul shifted uncomfortably. "What do you mean, Leela?" Voice dropped lower, forcing them to listen carefully. "Many years ago, a group of villagers lived not far from here. Among them was a woman named Maya. She was beautiful, but people feared her. They believed she practiced dark magic. Whenever someone in the village fell sick or went missing, they blamed Maya." Arjun rolled his eyes. Classic, the misunderstood. Woman accused of witchcraft. Leela ignored him and continued. "One day, a young boy disappeared. His mother swore she had seen him playing near Maya's hut before he vanished. The villagers, filled with fear and rage, stormed her home." Neha hugged her knees to her chest, fully immersed in the story. "They dragged Maya into the forest, right here, where we're sitting now. They tied her to a tree, piled wood around her, and set her on fire. As the flames consumed her, she screamed, not in pain, but in rage. She swore she would return and make them suffer. The villagers said they heard laughter mixed with her screams as she burned. A sudden gust of wind made the fire flicker, casting wild shadows on the trees. The friends exchanged nervous glances. Since then," Leila continued, "people who come to this forest at night have reported hearing whispers. Some say they've seen a woman with burned skin lurking between the trees, watching, waiting." Arjun laughed, though it sounded forced. "Nice story, Leila. You should write horror novels." Neha nudged him. "Shut up, Arjun, it's creepy." Rahul sighed. "It's getting late. Maybe we should get some sleep." Reluctantly, they put out the fire and crawled into their tents. The night was eerily silent. No crickets, no rustling leaves. Just an unsettling stillness. Leela lay in her tent, unable to sleep. Something felt ... wrong. A whisper slithered through the air, barely audible, her breath caught in her throat. It was probably just the wind. Right, a soft rustling outside made her heart hammer. She held her breath, listening. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Moving round the tents, she sat up, straining to hear. A shadow passed over the fabric of her tent. Someone was outside. Mustering her courage, she unzipped the entrance just enough to peek out. The dying embers of the fire barely lit the area. But she saw something. A figure stood at the edge of the trees, barely visible in the darkness. A woman, her skin was charred, her hair a tangled mess. She stood motionless, staring directly at Leela's tent. Leela's breath hitched. Her mind screamed at her to close the tent and hide, but she couldn't move. The woman took a step forward. Her burned face twisted into a grotesque grin. Leela finally snapped out of her trance and scrambled back, shaking. "Guys, wake up," Rahul groaned. "What is it? There's someone out there," she whispered frantically. Neha sat up, rubbing her eyes. "What are you talking about?" Leela pointed at the entrance. "Look." Arjun, annoyed, unzipped his tent and peeked. Outside, There's nothing. His voice cut off abruptly. The blood drained from his face. Neha and Rahul, now fully awake, rushed to look. The woman was closer now, much closer. Then she moved, not walking, not running, floating, gliding toward them, her burned fingers stretching forward. Leela let out a strangled scream as the woman let out a guttural laugh. The fire flared back to life on its own, illuminating her horrifying face. Her eyes were hollow, empty pits of darkness. The friends scrambled out of their tents, tripping over each other in panic. Rahul grabbed a flashlight, his hands shaking as he pointed it at her. She vanished. Silence. Only the wind, rustling the trees once more. Heart pounding, Arjun stammered. We have to get out of here, now." No one argued. They grabbed their bags and ran, crashing through the underbrush, breathless and terrified. As they reached their car, panting, Neha glanced back at the campfire. The woman stood there again, watching them. But this time, she wasn't alone. Dozens of shadowy figures emerged from the trees, their charred faces twisted in agony. As the engine roared to life and the car sped away, Leela dared to whisper she wasn't lying. She really did come back. And in the forest, T.